Well, hello, EK Nation. Welcome to another edition of Face2Face. It's been a while. Myself, Rob Howden, David Cole here with you. Episode number 87. And so we kind of get ourselves through the Winter Series programs. Now, of course, into the month of May, wrapping that up. A bunch of races have already taken place. The major national series are all underway as well. David, time to roll out some of the one-off events. Of course, we're going to talk about the Quincy Grand Prix here today with Jeff Scott. We'll bring him in here a bit. But one of the cool things about our sport, we have a lot of great series. But these cool one-off events are really a big part of what we have in North America.
Yeah, that's the kind of essence again with karting here in the States, and where karting began back in 1956. We're almost up on the 70th year of the sport. So again, they used to race in parking lots. They used to race in abandoned streets throughout California, wherever they could get the carts to go. And not get caught or not get in trouble or this and that. So, that's kind of the essence of karting here in the United States. And it's continued, as much as possibly can. Again, there's a lot of issues dealing with temporary circuits and this and that. But, again, it's, there's if there's a way for anybody to go fast there, karts will do it.
That's it. I'll tell you, you and I are both obviously 30 plus year racers. I started back in 95, you before that. Interesting. What was your first year?
I've been in it my whole life, so I'm actually longer than you, but
how old were you when you first started?
When I first started driving, I was 1989. I was 10 years old.
That was your first year?
Yeah.
Damn. I was going to go with this. It's like one of my first races. The first year I got into it, I ran the Barrie Grand Prix, which was a street race up in Canada on Kempenfelt Bay up in Barrie, Ontario. That was probably my sixth race. It was like really early in the season, and I just got started. But these one-off races like Quincy, like Rock Island, these are the ones that you and I get to do actually, David. We don't normally get to do the series events simply because the fact we're there working it, calling it, covering it, whatever it may be. So it's a race like Quincy that I've run once before. You got to get it on your bucket list pretty soon to get done. But it's again a big part of the event, bringing more people together, because a lot of the times these national series hire bigger budget drivers, bigger budget teams. A lot of times these one-off events like the Quincy Grand Prix are the ones that pull in club racers, right? The families that come out and be part of these races year in and year out.
Yeah, year in and year out, it's typically been grassroots racers that have been doing the street racing over the last basically 2 decades.
Yeah.
The early years that I started going to Rock Island Grand Prix, we had some of the bigger teams that were going, but again, there was support from the organizations at that time for these street races.
True.
Now, there's not that support. They have their own typically. Superkarts USA has the Super Nationals. You look at even Rock Cup USA, they've been doing temporary circuits as well too.
Yeah.
The street racing side or temporary circuits and events are typically have become more grassroots based, especially here in the Midwest. And that's kind of the progression that the sport has made with that. And, with the Briggs 206 package being the most popular category at all street races that we go to now, that certainly helps bring in the grassroots element.
Agreed.
You'll still get the occasional guys who do regional and national races doing these, but it's the focus is again bringing the sport to people, introducing it to people, and putting on a good show, because that's what you get with Briggs Racing. A lot of bumper to bumper action, a lot of passing, a lot of close finishes. Jason Burgess will probably tell you that from all the different events that he's flagged for Quincy and Elkhart and of course Rock Island. So again, that is the kind of the progression that street racing has made.
So let's roll into this, folks. Again, we're just about a month away from this year's Quincy Grand Prix. It has been around a number of years, let's put it that way. You go back to the days of Gus Trader, then Terry Trader, and now, of course, the new promoter after a year's hiatus came back last year with Jeff Scott. We'll talk more about obviously the history of the event, but it's only a month away, David. June the 28th and 29th is the weekend this year for the Grand Prix. They moved it around from year on year to try to find a place where it kind of slots into all the racing that's going on. But the event, of course, in South Park in Quincy, Illinois, right on the Mississippi River. Let's bring the promoter. Let's bring in Jeff Scott, fellow racer with us as well, and get things underway. Jeff, thanks for taking some time. We're a month away from the park race. Where are we in terms of being ready?
I can only barely hear you guys. I'm going to try to log in on my phone real quick.
Okay. All right, he'll go on the phone. David, let's talk about the actual history of the race a little bit.
Yeah, it's this year will be the 36th edition of the race. It went from 1970, the first year, to 2001. There were a few years, like early 70s, when the race wasn't run because of rain. At that time, they did not run in the rain, so they got 30 events in during that span in 2000 until 2001 when. Gus Schrader and Terry Schrader ended it there. Terry Schrader brought it back in 2018 to 2019. Of course, 2020, we all know what happened then. And then it ran from 21 to 22 with Terry Schrader as the promoter once again. So he got to host the event 4 different times before in 2023 when he retired and decided to end his promoting side of things and actually sold the racetrack as well too. That's another topic we can get to talk to Jeff about, because it's a different atmosphere in terms of karting there in the Quincy, Illinois area for sure.
Let's try to bring Jeff back in. Let's see if it's working on the phone now.
Here we go.
How's this?
Yes, much better.
Yeah, there we go.
The fail safe.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. We are fine tuning and evolving on the run here. Good work. So Jeff, I just talked about the fact we're a month away. Obviously, the race is the 28th and 29th of June. My initial question was, where are we in terms of being ready? I know the registration's open, numbers are coming in, lots of drivers in the Ignite categories. Where are we in terms of being ready for this year's race?
Well, I feel like we're ready. But yeah, when the 30-day mark hits, you're like, I know what the next 30 days is going to entail. Yeah, so it's all hands on deck. That 30 days goes by in like a split second. So
how much different has it been since obviously last year was your first year promoting it, right? You don't know what you don't know. You're into it. Coming into the second year, significantly easier having been through the first one?
Yeah, a little bit. But we're trying to do a little more, each year, trying to make it a little bigger. We're adding the Kids Power Wheels event on Friday night. Kind of a meet and greet with the drivers. Have hopefully 30, 40 kids there with their little Power Wheel and kind of introduce them to the drivers. And those kids will be back on Saturday or Sunday. So, yeah, just trying to make it bigger and better.
What kind of feedback did you get from last year's race? Obviously it was Gus, then it was Terry, and they're the ones that were kind of front and center. You were a racer yourself in the program. What kind of feedback did you get now, kind of being that point man after your first race in 2024?
Honestly, nobody complained, and I think they know don't complain because it's a lot of work. But I feel like, Terry over the years had done a lot of work, and I kind of had, all the hard stuff was done for me. All my people were in place. So I don't want to say it was turnkey, but pretty much turnkey. So that made it a lot easier.
And the great thing is, and I know, you have a race like this, you guys have a lot of support from the city of Quincy as well. And you guys are from Quincy, are you not?
Yeah, it's our hometown. The park is, a 10-minute drive for me. So, and that was kind of why I took it on. We promoted the quarter-mile track here on our property for years, a dirt track. Yeah. So kind of had a background in that. And yeah, being a kart racer my whole life and know what this means to the city. Last year, of course, they can track your phones while you're in the park. We had 15,000 spectators over the weekend.
Wow.
Yeah. So to me, it felt like back in the 90s when that's what everybody in town, that's where they went. So hoping to duplicate that again this year.
Love it.
Well, personally for you, you went there as a racer many times, but last year you were on the other side of the fence, basically, as a promoter. What kind of personal emotions were you feeling, as the first session went green on Saturday morning when karts first hit the track, knowing, oh my gosh, this is my race now?
Yeah. Part of that was turning it over to my race director. He said, by the time we throw the first flag, he says, that's my job now. You're done.
Okay.
Which I wasn't, because, you've got 50 or 60 sponsors in the VIP tent. And just, it's my hometown. So I couldn't walk 10 feet without somebody stopping and thanking us for keeping the event going and just on and on and on. So, but yeah, it was a good feeling to step back. Cause we added a lot of things, we added the bounce houses, we added a cornhole tournament. And some of that is just stuff that I've seen in other events, primarily Elkhart. Their atmosphere was just like nothing else compares to it. So I tried to bring some of that to Quincy, and we had really good results with that.
Does that help continue the progression and the momentum to continue to do this when you as you said, everybody stopped you in Quincy and said, "Oh my gosh, thank you for having this event." And I'm sure a lot of the racers said the same thing as well.
Yes. And again, I know it's important for the community, but it's also important for karting. I enjoy it. The track is nothing compares to it. I mean, I've raced everywhere. You can't explain it unless you come take a lap in it or on it. You can't compare it to anything.
Yeah, I always tell the story about the first time I went there. I was working for National Kart News, and Keith Freeber had convinced me you have to come and see the park. I went there to cover the race, had too much to drink on Saturday night, got signed up for the race the next morning, and ran Yamaha pipe. I don't think I had a practice session in the morning. That was about it, and I ran Yamaha pipe. But it's such a wild racetrack. It's kind of like a Monaco. It's kind of like a Isle of Man TT. But the elevation changes. It's just such a fantastic racetrack. And from the day I ran back in the late 90s to now, the level of safety, what you guys do in terms of safety, has been exponentially increased as well.
Yeah. A lot of people see, there's a couple pictures of the stone walls. That's an inside corner. It's never really an issue, but we bring in Terry Briggins. We do 2 loads of barriers. We did 1,500 hay bales behind those last year. And then I ended up buying another semi-load of Scribner barriers. So we have 3 loads of barriers to, keep it safe. My kids are out there. I'm out there. I want it as safe as we can make it.
And just fun to drive. I can't believe David Cole hasn't been there yet. We got to drag his butt out there. I know the schedule always seems to bite him in the butt when we try to get him to this race. But I'll tell you, folks, if you're out there and haven't raced one yet, it is something you have to do. Jeff, you've run a lot of the Ignite program, and Margay Ignite is something that Dave and I are obviously huge fans of. We race it whenever we possibly can ourselves. Ran a bunch of races at Rock Island last year. Ignite's just such a fantastic program, and it really the Ignite program and the park race really kind of are symbiotic because they work so well together. There's so many. Let's talk a little bit about how many entries we have already in the Ignite categories for the race this year.
Yeah, I looked earlier in the Ignite senior class, there's 27, and we do a feature each day. So there's 27 on Saturday, 27 on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's a big class. And it'll be good racing for sure.
Can we go through the class structure? Do you have that there in front of you, or do we get David to do it?
You might have Dave do it. I don't have it in front of me because I had to move my locations trying to get good service. So
we did. David.
Yeah. So you talk about Saturday. Saturday you have special features. We got Briggs Heavy, Margay Ignite, the FK 100, along with the new Margay Ignite 100 program. Those are combined. Briggs Masters. You also have bikes as well too. Let's talk quick about that. Tell us about. I think last year was the first year they were there. Tell us about the bike program coming to be part of Quincy Grand Prix.
Yeah, the mini motos. I think they're like a 200cc bike. We had to do a test with them for insurance, and they race at Mid-State Kart Club off of weeks at karting races. So we thought, hey, let's bring them over. They've got tire warmers. They're the real deal. They're laying down their knees on corners that we're going around at 45 miles an hour. And I was like, okay, those guys they're the real deal. So this year they added another motor size. I think they said they're going to be able to go 5 or 7 miles an hour faster. So yeah, definitely cool to watch them guys.
That's definitely their Isle of Man TT.
Yeah. And we had a problem with them last year because we would, waiting for the grids. Where are they at? Well, he finally explained to me, he says, we leave our tire warmers on until the last possible minute. So when we roll up, our tires are warm and we hit the first corner with some heat in the tires. So I'm like, that makes sense.
Love that. David,
Margay, let me do Saturday. Let me finish that. Margay Ignite Masters and then Pro Shifter. You guys will do Saturday night awards with a concert as well. Jeff, tell us a little bit about how that awards and concert works for everybody that'll be there.
Yeah, so the concert's not as big as I hoped. Maybe down the road, that's a production in itself. But we've got a local band. We've kind of moved it to the VIP tent. So we'll be partying with, the racers and the pit crews. Some fans will come in, and all of our sponsors got a big tent there. So, and a beer truck.
Perfect.
I mean, if you can get your competitors a little feeling
Inebriated.
sorry on Sunday morning, then you have an advantage. So
then, so after everybody wakes up from a good night of partying, hot laps at 9 a.m. on Sunday, and opening ceremonies 11 a.m. and then racing starts at noon. Let's see, we got many of the same categories. We also have the Briggs Legends. Rob, that's in your neck of the woods, I believe. Jeff as well too.
Yeah, Jeff and I are both legends. Trust me.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of what other ones. Ignite Legends, Briggs Legends, Vintage will be there as well too.
Yes.
And then new for this year is the women's category. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I had a local sponsor, and actually he's a retired school teacher, and he runs a driving school. No joke. But he says, how come you don't have a women's only class? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I really feel like you should try it. So we picked up a sponsor. I've been in racing enough to watch. My daughter is one, that she's in the lead pack, one lap to go, and they always seem to shuffle the girl to the back. Like, I don't know what it is. It's that competitive boy against boy. I don't know. There's girls out there that are better than most boys. But I think it's cool to put all the girls on the track. Actually, we've titled it Queen of the Park, similar to The Rock. But I'm curious. I really hope it goes. I want to see the girls just battle each other and see who's got the best.
Well, they're going to do double duty anyways. If they're there, right, they're going to run another category.
Yes. My daughter didn't want to. She didn't even want to race the women's only class. She's like,
of course,
I don't want to race that. I'm like, you have to race it. But
I just happen to be wearing my Hannah Greenmeyer shirt on right now. I realize that Hannah Greenmeyer shirt again. Talking about one of the best female karters we've ever had. I love it. I'd love to see some support on that. Get that rolling for sure.
Yes. Definitely.
So to wrap up Sunday's categories, you do have 3 categories racing for cash purse. That includes the Pro FK 100. Pro Briggs and Pro Shifter as well. And that's going to be $1,000 to win for those 3 categories.
Yeah. So we put up a little cash money. And actually we are doing the Pro Briggs class is going to be a memorial to my dad. That'll be his memorial race. So we've got a couple cool things designed. One of them's going to be a traveling trophy for the winner of that class. And that's the last class of the day. It could get kind of dicey. My son says whatever it takes to win, so that could be interesting to watch.
I love it. What about new for this year? We talked about the women's class, but you got a new race director, I think, as well. Is that correct?
Yes, Chris Olds is coming on board, and his wife Megan's going to help with registration. And we have a lot of the Cup Karts crew, and I love the Cup Karts crew, so I can't complain. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody.
Great people.
It kind of fits the atmosphere, right? There's a lot of the Cup Karts competitors, and as you said, now staff that are going to be at Quincy in the park.
Oh, definitely. And Jason Burgess there leading on the charge with the flags. He's the showman up front. So and Randy and Dave Mack on the microphone together. The one thing that's missed. It sounds completely dangerous. And one thing we were really shooting for, we were really trying to pull Kart Chaser in. I'd talked with Xander since last fall. USPKS is up at Road America, and he was really concerned with having 2 events and not even really being to the park, knowing how much equipment, how many operators he really needs. So that's something hopefully we can pull in next year and put us on Kart Chaser. So.
You talked about 27 drivers in the Ignite Senior class. What other categories do you see that are going to have some pretty good numbers as well?
I think the Pro Briggs class, I think it's up there in about 20 or so. Most of those Briggs classes will see 20, 25, maybe 30 entries. A lot of guys wait till the last minute.
They do. 100% do. Hey, who's close to making some moves up the order, David? Do you have the number in terms of overall wins there's got to be some guys that are going to do some leapfrogging here. They can come away with a handful of victories.
I mean, 27 by Terry Trader and Scott Evans is going to be very tough.
It's pretty tough
to catch up. Some of the more current names that if I could be politically correct, are Tony Nielsen has 9.
Okay.
Jeff Dolian was 6.
Good say Dolian, yeah.
So those are really, you got a couple at 4, like a Matt Kretschel, Riley Scott, some kid out of Quincy. I'm not quite sure who he is.
Lama.
Hey, Indy 500 winner, Devin Smith Harden.
He is
a crew guy for Alex Palou.
That's
has
right.
3 wins at the Quincy Grand Prix.
And I think he holds the lap record too.
I think he does have the quickest lap. Yes, I think you're right on that, because I think that was the problem with Race Liberante and Joe Ruck. Couldn't beat him. Beat his time every time they thought they could.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Listen, anytime we have good numbers, David and I talked about it at the start, Jeff. The Briggs program has really become kind of that foundation, right, for all of these street circuit races, whether it's Rock Island, Quincy, or Elkhart. You get other categories as well, but it's just the Briggs racing on those kind of tracks is just so much fun. Are you running this year as well? Are you driving, or are you just?
Oh yeah, I ran last year. I think I qualified for a couple. Then by Sunday, I'm like, well, I might as well run these classes too. So I jumped in and I started in the back, and I don't know, I ended up on a couple podiums. Yet have never won the park. I don't know what it is. I won the first Saturday sprint in 2018 when Terry brought it back after the long pause, and I think that was like a curse because I have not. There was one race last year I led every lap except last straightaway, which you don't want to lead at the park, but I just happened to be there, and so maybe this year.
That'd be big.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Dave, where else we got to go here? Do we want to talk more about do you have some of the local industries or some of the local companies, Jeff, you want to talk about that are supporting this race? And we talk about the cornhole and the bounce house and 15,000 people, lining the hills around the racetrack. You want to mention some of the companies that are local that have really got behind the event this year?
Yes, definitely. We have a lawyer on board, Rober and Phillips. They've been our headline sponsor now the last 2 years. And I mean, Anheuser-Busch with Busch Light and Ranella Company are big sponsors. I mean, the list is huge, 50 some sponsors, because everybody in the community knows, that this is a big event. So, and again, we put them all in the VIP tent with banners, the program ads. It's a lot to pull together. That's probably a big part of the work. It's a lot.
What is the VIP area? We've talked about it a couple of times. Kind of describe what people get because any of the family members that come to the event to watch their family members race, they can be part of this VIP area, right?
Yeah. So the VIP tent is right at the start finish line, has its own grandstand, has air conditioned bathrooms. We do cater both. Yeah, we have catering both days. Barbecue one day and I think Mexican the other. Of course, a beer truck, Pepsi truck. They put up a 50-inch TV and they do a little gambling on the side. They just draw names out of the hat and kind of gives them somebody to cheer for.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, it's a good time in the VIP tent. And sometimes if there's a crash there, that's more excitement. I've seen guys jump over the fence and go have a beer in the VIP tent.
Perfect. How much does it cost? What's a VIP ticket?
I think they were $100 each day, or there was a discount if you did both.
Wow. Okay. That's really
and you
good.
get VIP parking, which means you can basically pull right there. Which an event this size parking is complicated.
That sounds like a no-brainer. I'm all for that for sure. That sounds good. That's where David and I would be. We'll work out of the VIP tent when we go.
Yeah,
for sure.
What else we got, guys? Let's wrap things up here. This is good. Hey, if people want to register, Jeff, where do they go? Is it to the website? Where are we going to register?
Yep, they can go to Quincy Grand Prix or Facebook. We've got links in all of our posts. It's on Race Select, which is help streamline that registration process. So,
what are your thoughts on that so far? I've heard nothing but good things about Race Select.
Yes, last year was my first year with it, so it was a learning curve for me and checking in drivers. But bringing Megan in this year, she can handle all that.
Here, you have it.
You have that. That was a hot mess Saturday morning.
Well, listen, Megan and Chris, they're two of the best in our sport, are they not? Not just the fact of what they do at the track, they're just great people as well.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to working with them.
So there you go, David Cole. What do we? We talked about the fact Kart Chaser's not going to be there or can't go because of the USPKS race. That's where you're going to be. You're going to be at Road America. Tough for you not to be able to get there. One of these years, it's going to line up where David can come and be part of the action.
Yeah, again, that's kind of the hard thing, and we talk about it with the one-off events is trying to find a time to put these races on. So you got to do what you got to do, and if it works better with club and regional programs, basically a lot of your racers are from the grassroots region, and that's kind of where things are. I know you'd like to bring in more people, especially in the FK 100 or even in the shifter category, but still, it's tough trying to be a promoter, isn't it, in the sport in terms of finding a good date?
Yeah, finding that perfect date, because there are so many traveling series now. And then, I've got to find the date that's available at the park. It's not like a racetrack where it's just sitting there. I've got to find, I got to miss German Fest or this event. So I've only got a few dates I can work with too.
Well, hopefully people will continue to look at that at your race, the Quincy Grand Prix, and say, hey, listen, we need to work with them for sure. Otherwise, Jeff, just a month away. We talked about the fact, I can't remember, Margay put something out on their social media, over 110, I think, entries just from the Margay Ignite crew. This is going to be a big race this year. What was the overall total last year, Jeff, before we wrap up?
I think entry-wise, we were at like 285. So like I said, we're at 215, something like that now. And something else we probably ought to mention is the Skip Barber deal with Margay and the 3-race series between Elkhart, Quincy, and Rock Island, which my son and I won that last year. I got second, so you could call me the first loser. But we both got to go to Skip Barber down in Virginia a couple weeks ago, and that was a really cool deal.
How was that? I saw that on your social.
It was good. It rained for 3 days. So that was interesting to, both of us just go out there, and I was in the Mustang and he was in the smaller car, and out in the rain. I think Riley in 3 days, I think he ran 4 or 5 laps in the dry.
Oh, wow. Well, it's a good thing you guys have car control.
Yes. Yeah. He did learn some stuff. So, it was a cool experience, and, whoever's going to shoot for those points this year, it's worth the effort.
Well, Jeff, listen, we thank you for taking the time to chat with us. Obviously a fantastic event. Love to hear that you're getting the numbers are rolling in already. Still a month away from the race. As I said, June the 28th, 29th, this year's Quincy Grand Prix. Again, as you mentioned, a lot of these guys are going to be late entries. Then they're going to come in and they're going to, I'll enter another class. Oh, okay, I'll run one more, maybe, that kind of thing. See who can run the most classes on the weekend. Otherwise, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And best of luck this year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There he is, folks. Jeff Scott from the Quincy Grand Prix. And David, listen, we look at some of these street races. There's been a number of them that have come and gone. Streets of Lancaster is now gone. Scusa tried to do the Modesto Grand Prix in the streets. That only lasted 1 year. These are the events that are a big part of our history, and a big part of really the core foundation of karting we don't want to see go away. And for a guy like Jeff to step up, the Traders ran that race for so many years. Terry came back and did it again, but finally was ready to retire. For Jeff, a local driver, local guy, driver, businessman from Quincy, to step up and keep this thing going. This is one of the guys that you have to get behind and support, because this is so huge for the sport.
Yeah, and you look at Formula One, all the different street races that they're doing, because they understand bringing it right to the people is the best way to do it. Yeah. And I think in karting, if we have the right people, Jeff, that's our focus, is making it as safe as possible. That's number one goal. And I think if we have people like that in karting that promote safe tracks like this, Rock Island always does safety first, Elkhart, all these different ones, even the temporary circuits we do go to for the big events as well. It's safety is always number one. Sometimes they'll change the racetrack to make it safer, and that's what needs to be done. So, maybe there could be, as some of these kids get older and they start, getting it, of age to be able to go race wherever they want, maybe they'll start thinking, hey, street racing's a way to go. But, right now it's very tough for these kids to get to street racing. So now we're kind of relying on all the grassroots racers out there that, just love to go fast.
That's it. Listen, you said it straight out, right? How many conversations do we have on a weekend basis, anytime we're somewhere? Hey, what are we going to do to grow the sport? What are we going to do? Well, this is one of the ways to do it. Obviously, this has taken the race right to the people. And that's always been a big thing about street racing. You take it to the people. There's going to be 15,000 people watching this event, as there always have. Quincy's always been one that really draws people from around the city and other neighboring towns to come in and watch this race year in and year out. Families have the same place they put their chairs up and their umbrellas up every year to come to this race. So looking forward again to seeing all the people that get out there and get a chance to race, and all the ones that get a chance to come and watch it as well, because it's a fantastic place to watch. Just a great racetrack. We talked about the undulating corners. It is an unbelievable layout. Nothing like it in American karting at all. But David, again, we'll get you down there sooner or later.
Yeah, one of these years the schedule will work out. My home schedule will work out as well too, because that's been the issue the last 5 years or 5 times. So yeah, it's it'll happen, and you have to make your way back eventually as well too.
100%. Yeah, I need to get away from. I need to start racing more. I need to get away from working and get into more racing.
Yeah, you're playing too much golf.
I played 5 times this year so far. What are you talking about? You probably played more than I have. All right,
Wednesday
folks.
night at the racetrack, baby.
That wraps things up for this edition of Face to Face. On behalf of David Cole, Jeff Scott from the Quincy Grand Prix, which again is coming June the 28th, 29th. Go to quincygrandprix.com. Get registered. Cross this one off the bucket list. If you do, you're probably going to go back year in and year out. It's such a fantastic event. But again, big thank you to Jeff for being with us. And thanks for tuning in, folks. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.